What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be the first video of a new series, and that new series is going to be trying to turn $800 into $8,000. We're going to try to 10x our money. And so basically, if we lose the 800 right on rip today, or we win a little bit and we lose it tomorrow, we're not going to put any more in and the series will be over. So we're going to see how much we can run that up to with the goal of being 8,000. So it's going to be 8,000 or bust. So first hand here, we had Queen Jack of Hearts. We were in the small blind and we made a pretty loose call on the flop with just second pair, but he c-bet pretty small. We hit two pair on the turn and he continues firing. So we check it to him on the river. He's going to check it back and we're going to see the good news that we win. So we're up $200 already right there. I only included the bigger hands that I played today because our session was a little bit longer, and that's how these videos are going to kind of work out. That I think after doing a little bit of study in the past couple days and, playing live, I kind of realized that I've been playing really loose and playing to my opponent's aggression on the online play, and that's kind of been making my play worse here. And I've kind of been punting some money away and maybe getting into flips that I didn't need to be in. So we're playing a lot tighter here. So we're only going to be playing really like premium hands. Sometimes you'll see me mixing a couple of other hands when I'm in the straddle or the big blind when the pots are smaller or early on. But that's what we are getting into. So here we decided to represent the flush on the river. And obviously if he doesn't have a good club here, there's no way he can call. So we decided to fire that off. I don't think our 10's good here, but we fire off 134. Looks like a value bet, and he's going to think it over for a little while, and he's going to ultimately fold. So we make a pretty good play there. I think something else that I got to stop trying to do is trying to win every single hand that I'm involved in. I think that with the minimum hands that I'm playing now, with the less hands that I'm playing, it'll be easier to win every pot that I'm playing because I'm going to have a tighter image. And I can connect with a lot of higher ranges on boards, so it'll be easier for my opponents to believe me. But I think earlier on in my play, I've been trying to win every single hand, even when I have junk hands. But with all that talk, our opponent raised to 24. We had a caller in the middle. I decided to raise it up to 96 with ace-king offsuit here. And we are actually going to get two callers here going to a flop, so got to proceed with caution. I'm going to continue the pre-flop aggression here, even with two other opponents in when we don't connect. Pretty low board. Our opponent shouldn't connect with this range. If they had something, they'd have a set here, and I'd expect them to call and maybe raise on the turn. So we're going to decide to bet 92, sticking with our aggression, hoping to improve on the turn if we get there. And if not, we're just going to continue the aggression anyways. When the 9 comes, again, not a card that should be in our opponent's range. We're going to continue the aggression like we have an overpair, and we bet 100 here, making it look like it's a value bet, and our opponent is going to think it over for a second, and they are going to lay it down, and we are going to win a pretty nice pot there. So we're already probably about 30, 40 minutes into the session here, and we're up about 600-ish. My goal for today, when I started winning on early, was to make 1,000 today. So I almost get there, and we will see what happens. So in the big blind, we have ace-queen offsuit, and our opponent's going to raise it up to 32. We are going to think it over, maybe think about a raise, but we ultimately just decide to call here. We don't have ace-king. We don't have a pair. This is a hand you could raise with, but being out of position, we don't really want to because then we'll have to continue the aggression, not knowing where our opponent's at. Luckily for us, we're going to hit top pair on this board, and it's three ways, so we're going to check it over. The pre-flop aggressor is going to continue his aggression, and after thinking for a second, he is going to choose a sizing of 61. We are thinking about, hey, let's just call here. We don't want to bloat the pot. Not really a lot of stuff that connects with this board other than a smaller queen. He shouldn't really have two pairs in his range, and obviously there's that flush draw, but we'll continue with top pair. When we hit the two pair on the turn, we are just going to check it over to him, hoping he continues the aggression here. And he is going to think it over for a little bit. And luckily for us, he is going to continue the aggression and stick in a bet. We don't really like the sizing of that bet. of 208. He only has 229 left, so we figure, hey, if he has a flush draw, let's just get the money in now when we probably have the best hand. So we decided to go all in, and he is going to pretty much snap fold this one. He doesn't like it. I would have liked to see a call here. We easily had him beat, and I think even a flush draw would have called with that much equity in. So we're going to scoop up a nice pot there, and already we are almost to our goal. That's when we get into this next hand here. Queen 6 suited on the button. We raise it up to 24, hoping to steal the blinds. This guy raises it up to 120, and this should be just an easy fold for us. But unfortunately, I make a terrible play. I decided to keep this one in just to show the vulnerability sometimes of being an idiot and making plays that just don't make any sense and why they can turn out bad. So flop comes king high. He bets 67, pretty small for a C-bet with the action pre-flop, thinking maybe he's just trying to steal the pot. So he decided to raise it up 167, so that's 100 on top of his. And then when the king comes on the turn, he checks it to us, obviously, because we raised. We could just check back here, but when the king pairs the board, we decide to represent that king. And obviously, if he doesn't have a king, he's got to just lay it down. We go for 325, and he is going to think it over. And I thought that maybe he was going to fold here and this terrible play would work out, but it doesn't. He checks it to us, and we're going to make a absolutely absurd play here, and we are going to bet like a very small amount to try to make it look like we're going for value here, and we choose a sizing of 115. He's going to make a call pretty quickly, and we are going to see the bad news that he actually did have a king. So we made a terrible play on every single street there, and we lost the absolute worst amount. Like, there's just no reason we should have been in that hand. And so we got to move on. We're almost back to even now, and this opponent's going to raise to 20. With us already having 8 in and a caller in between, we're going to float and just see what we can do. We flopped the world, full house on the flop. Couldn't ask for a better flop there. We easily have the nuts. Probably not a lot of things that could happen to have our opponents catch up. He's going to bet 32. He has a smaller stack, only 73 left, and the opponent in the middle is going to think it over, and he is going to ultimately make the call. We're going to make the call here. We don't want to raise here and scare anybody off. Obviously, we have the best hand. We want them to improve in some sort of fashion on the later streets because I don't think that anybody's going to catch up. The flush comes in on the turn, and it's an overcard to the other card, so that was a pretty good card for us because it helps our opponents a lot. And we're just going to check here. Doesn't make a lot of sense to lead bet and hope this guy just goes all in because he only has 73 left. That's exactly what happens. We're hoping the guy in the middle calls. He doesn't, so we got no choice. We got a call here, can't get any more money. And we're going to see the good news that we have him beat. He just had a weak jack, so not really much that guy could have done there with the short stack. Maybe just not playing that hand, but we just played Queen 6 and lost way more than that guy lost. So who are we to talk? We decided to limp here. 9-8 suited from the big blind. Our opponent raises it up to 96. We're going to call. This guy's been trying to steal pots so much, and when you guys are playing, picking up on cues like that and seeing what they're doing, and he raised it up to 100-something, or he raised it up pretty big pre-flop, and then he downsizes to 22 on the flop, and that's just such a weird line. So we decided to call even with just second pair with the flush draw on the board. We hit 2 pair on the turn, and we're just going to snap call him, and we check the river over to him and see if he fires that third barrel, and he is going to think and think and think, and we're thinking, all right, he's thinking for this long. We probably got him beat. He goes for 320. We just snap him off. He could have had a flush there, and we could have made a bad call, but the frequency that he hits a flush there with the pre-flop aggression isn't very likely, and he was just trying to scoop up that pot there and just get us off our hand, and we were not going for it. So scoop up a very good pot there, get our stack back up. We're around 1,500 now, as you can see, and we get into this hand here. We're in late position, going to the pot. We got ace-7, so we hit top pair here. Jack pairs the board on the turn, and we're thinking, all right, there's only one card that can help us in the river, and that's an ace. We're probably behind here, even if somebody else has an ace, because we could have 2 pair, like aces and jacks, but they probably have a king or queen maybe. Or maybe we're chopping it up right now, or they could have a jack, or they could have a flush, or they could have a straight. He bets 124. I thought about calling until this guy called the 124. So we're going to lay it down. It's the correct lay down, and unfortunately, the ace comes on the river. We would have the second nuts here to obviously a straight flush, and they're going to check it. We're going to see that maybe we could have got some value on the river there, but I just wanted to stick that one in, being like, hey, sometimes making the right play, the cards run out in your favor, but that's still okay. That was the absolutely correct play there. If we called the 124, who knows what would have happened on the river if that ace didn't come. We wouldn't have been good, and, that's just not a hand you want to continue with for that price. So we're on the button here. We got ace-jack, and like I said earlier, this guy here, same opponent from the other hand, has just been trying to steal these pots, raising it up pretty high, like 24. There was only like $60 in the pot before. He raises it up to 96. Pretty big bet. So these players in the middle, they're going to think it over, and they're not going to call, and we are going to just think it over, and being in position here, we're going to raise. We don't want to see a flop here, and we're just hoping we can take it down with a good premium hand like ace-jack, and that's what happens. We catch that guy, speed in there, and we get him to fold. We could have called, but then, we face a tough decision like that other hand, and obviously we're not going to hit two pair or something good every single time, so we just would rather get that pot out of the way there pre-flop without seeing any cards with a good hand, and we see that he was didn't have anything really that good to call with. So this opponent decides to raise it up to 52, being in position with ace-jack. We're just going to call here. This guy hasn't played many hands, so we're going to proceed with caution. We hit top pair, so it's very good for us. This opponent, he could have, maybe a set here with sixes or something. When the 4 comes, it's very unlikely he has quads. Not many other hands that beat us here. He could have pocket queens, pocket kings, pocket aces, but very unlikely here with his action. He checks the turn to us. We decide to bet 130. When he calls and the 3 comes in on the river, probably could have gone for thin value here. We still probably have the best hand, but I decided to just check it back. And he has ace-queen there. Didn't have much going for him. I don't think he would have called even if we did bet the river. And we get our stack up to $1,892. So that's going to be a profit of $1,000 on the session. So like I said, we're going to try to get it up to $8,000. So our 800 is up to $1,892 right now. And that is going to do it for today's video. I'm going to be including a chart that'll pop up here in a second with where we are at, where our money is, and how close we are to that 8,000. So today we profited $1,092. And here's our chart. Obviously, today the chart's not going to look very different because it's just one day. So thanks for coming, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe and comment, and we will see you guys for another video shortly.